This is Married at First Sight, Season 10, Episode 16. I love me a dinner party day, because when you get them all together and there's nowhere to hide. Reiss and Leisha, a lot of my girlfriends I would know would be absolutely mortified about this story. Had a few too many wines, knocking it back, sorry. Ends up like vomiting all over herself, apparently. I know she must feel bad, but I gotta be honest, yeah, vomit is something that I just cannot cope with. That would make me sick. Now, as me and my bestie are at odds with this year because I'm Team Leah. He's definitely Team Lee. To me, I can imagine it must just be so draining being, just chilling with Count Doom in there. They're talking like, last week was a bit of a car crash, like we were going to war, move on from it and kind of move on together. Did we watch the same family reunion that they went to? Nelly and Stephen. Run, girl, run! I'm sorry. He loathes her. I'm not saying that like someone that has to be here all the time, just like, hey babe, I'm gonna chill tonight, babe. Gonna help you tonight, babe. Like that, wow, move. Do you know what I mean? But asking for that, you know how you've been telling everybody that could listen about the ick, how we need to lose weight, how we need to get tattoos and get a tan, stop with the singing, stop with the rapping. Like you've said all of these things, Sarah. So where on God's green earth do you not know how you feel? I'm so glad that Mel called her out. Just tap the nice. Right, do you know what I mean? Please stop talking, absolutely popping my ears off because you're talking rubbish. And welcome, people, dems. So this is Married at First Sight, Season 10, Episode 16. I love me a dinner party day, because even though it's good to kind of see what they're all doing individually, when you get them all together and there's nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide. It's hard to do these ones by couple because it kind of, so many things happen throughout the episode. The new couples who are basically like entering the apartments and stuff and they're all excited. You get to see everyone's like wedding photos and stuff and everyone's wedding photos look amazing. But we find out that Reiss and Leisha have kind of got off to a bit of a rocky start back to the apartments because on the plane from Bangkok, apparently she's got, and it must be embarrassing. I think guys find these things embarrassing as well, but I think for like a lady, not to be all pre-2025, but I think there are a lot of my girlfriends I would know would be absolutely mortified about this story, and particularly it being a story that like everyone knows about on national TV too. So she must have had a few too many wines, knocking it back. She was knocking it back. Sorry. Ends up getting a little bit too leery and messy and ends up like vomiting all over herself, apparently. Which in itself, as I said, I know she must feel bad, but I gotta be honest, yeah, vomit is something that I just cannot cope with. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that like I prefer doo-doo, like I think either one of them is terrible, but when someone's sick about like, that would make me sick. I can't even imagine it. Like, down yourself. But and I know, was she sat down when this happened? Like, was she getting up to go and be sick and then it happened? Like, how, like, I don't know, man. Like I said, the last time that I was like violently sick was when I was 21 back at uni. And I've never been that way again. Not in terms of like making a mess. I mean, I'm talking like I needed to be carried out the club. Like I was being sick in the flower beds outside the club. Like the taxi on the way up had to stop to let me out to be sick. I was sick in my dorm room, like in my little sink thing. Like, it was
absolutely disgusting, by the way.
It was gross, yeah. Practically 2 decades later, yeah, that has never happened again. Like if I've ever needed to be sick, believe you me, I've made it to the bathroom. So I'm just struggling to understand as to how, like, you didn't know that was coming. Like, I just cannot understand, especially with the TV crew and your man, your perfect Prince Charming man. Anyway, she was sick. So she's been sick now. So he's already been a bit like, what the F is that about? And then apparently she's been off talking to some guy for like an hour whilst he was watching his in-flight movie. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. So he's arguably, I think, fair enough, been like, this takes the mick, mate, to be honest. Like, And I don't think she really gets it. She's apologized, but she's like, I think he's in his feelings about it, not really talking to me. But I think it's absolutely fair enough. So Leah and Lee, they're getting ready for the dinner party and stuff from early, it looks like. I mean, she's got the eye bag thing done from well early. Lee's like, I don't usually like to argue and have domestics in front of the family and stuff. So just to be very clear, we're not talking about the Rebecca thing anymore. It's done. I done it, done. D-U-N, done. I cannot be the only one that's fed up of hearing this woman's name. This straight woman's name that's very happily with her husband. But I know some people are saying it's not so much about whether it's reciprocated. It's kind of the lack of respect coming from Leah. Now, as me and my bestie are at odds with this year because I'm Team Leah. Well, I say Team Leah. I'm not necessarily Team any of them really, but as I'm watching it, like I'm Team Leah. He's definitely Team Lee. And I'm just like, I think she's out of order, personally. I don't know why she's making such a mountain out of a molehill. Whereas he thinks that like Leah's a bit, that she's quite manipulative and she's quite vindictive and stuff, and she knows what she's doing. But I just think in my head, I feel like Leah has checked out. That's my theory. I feel like she's checked out. She's had enough. Her friends come and confirmed it for her from last night. I've had enough. So they're not going to talk about it anymore. They get a visit from Leisha and Reiss. So they come down to come and introduce themselves and stuff, and straight away Leah's like hot. I mean, they're both hot. She's talking to her and stuff, and and to me, I can imagine it must just be so draining being, just chilling with Count Doom in there, just all miserable, just like, I don't want your honey tea, I don't want nothing from you, like I'm not attracted to you. Like that would drain me. It's draining me watching her. So I can imagine like having someone come in that's vibrant, a bit of fun, they're new, and they are both attractive people as well. So it'd be like, yeah, like this is great, like a bit candid and stuff. Straight away, Lee's just like, I think it's muggy. I'm just like, well, all right, like, she's not giving her a lap dance. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's just being an engaging person. Now, look, I'm not Lee, and I'm not trying to take away from how she feels because she's entitled to feel how she feels, right? And as well, I feel that when you're in those kind of scenarios, that like you can pick up on certain things that maybe other people don't pick up on. But either way, like your feelings are still valid because that's how you feel. So I'm not trying to take that away, but I do think it is just a little bit crazy that like any time that there is someone that fits the look, of what Leah would find attractive, she loses it. And I'm just like, you've got no right to lose nothing because you've shown this woman zero interest. Had a few kisses here and there. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you don't want to be intimate with this person. You've been with them like every single day. Do you know what I mean? There are things that you could have done, right, to showcase that you are really interested in her. Like, gone on like a little date or did a little date night at home. I've seen none of that. I've seen nothing at all that says to me that you're remotely interested. So I feel you just can miss me with all of the fake outrage. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't believe he's speaking about her blue eyes. Like, whatever. So they're all getting ready to go to the dinner party. What surprised me though, Julie, Ruth and Devani, like, they're talking like, last week was a bit of a car crash, like we were going to war, but, we just kind of move on from it and kind of move on together. Did we watch the same family reunion that they went to? Because the one I saw, those families were not coming to come chill. You know what I mean? They weren't breaking no bread. Dash the bread, bin the bread's done, we're finished here. So I was a bit baffled by that because, like I said in my last video, I'm expecting Julie Ruth to write Leave. And from what I'm seeing from that's not, and we already know that, Devani the deluded, right? He, again, no disrespect, but like really and truly, like, he's not leaving. So Julia, we're looking for. I wasn't impressed with that. Because then I'm like, well, what are you staying here for? Unless we hear there's something amazing that happened in the week that we've not seen. Don't get that. We don't see much from Ashley. In fact, we don't see Ashley and Grace at all. Obviously Leo and April, like they're all excited and stuff. She's still a little bit nervous about the lack of. I can't imagine how frustrating it would be to try and draw out conversation from someone. Like, because anytime I've been like that in any kind of friendship circle, it's so dead and dry. Like, nah, man. So I get they've got a physical attraction and stuff, and that's absolutely brilliant. But that's got to be a bit draining. But to be honest, like throughout the rest of the dinner party, they looked like they were getting on pretty well. So that's really cool. Abigail and John are buzzing. Maeve and Joe, like they're starting to get a little bit nervous about the future and stuff. And they're actually talking about like so where we're going to live. And he's like, well, I did say, that out of the two of us, if one of us was going to move, it would be me. But I'm getting that kind of hesitancy from him. It's making me go, I don't think he wants to move. Which again is a big deal, and he's just been settled down and stuff. So I can understand why that might be a little bit like, oh. Nelly and Stephen, like when you just want to go. Run, girl, run! Like, I'm sorry. He loathes her. I don't care what anyone wants to tell me about. Actually, no. Being smothered by anyone can be a little bit much. Yeah, this was your week, right, to demonstrate that you really cared about her. That's what you said you were gonna do, right? And you want to talk about how like she needs to stop being so needy, like and all the hugging and the kissing and the like I understand that you might not be in a headspace where you want all of that all the time. But obviously, you've gone from being a certain way at the honeymoon, having a car crash other times since then, and this person is, for whatever reason, like is deciding to give you the chance to redeem yourself. So when you're talking about like how, like she's expecting me to come be holding hands and put my arm around her, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you've really got a nerve. Again, I'm saying this just as an avid watcher, like genuinely speaking, it's their lives, whatever. But like as a watcher, if I was her people, like I said, I'm sorry, you're not about to be, because Nelly's whole thing is that she doesn't want to be hurt again. Girl, can you not hit, like, the alarm bell should be ringing, pack up the suitcase and come out to the apartment like that guy does. I'm sorry, maybe I'm going to be proven wrong, yeah, but I feel like he does not like her. Like, he doesn't like her, he's gone off her, he already thinks it's gone to crap. Like, so I feel like he's checked out as well. And something my friend said, a lot of these people are, they've signed up to these things, have gone through the auditions or whatever else they've got to do to get on the show. So they probably want to maximize the length of time they're on the show because it means then maybe there's more things available to them at the end of the program. But like, this is something that's gonna follow you around as that guy that was mean, that guy that had he just seems like mean spirited. Like, again, I don't know him personally. I'm just going by what I can see. But like when the camera pans out and he's like looking at her, he looks like he wants to do her something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not feeling the can you feel the love tonight. I'm not feeling none of that. Do you know what I mean? I'm just getting, I hate you so much right now. I hate. I'm not feeling vibes. I'm like, Nelly, you deserve better than that. So yeah, so it gets to the actual dinner party. And I think Maeve and Joe are the first ones to get in there. Then it's Julie, Ruth, and Devani. Again, all coming in fresh, looking cool, looking very together. I can't remember who the next ones are in after those two, but it fills up anyway. Obviously, the new people come in. Oh, it might be Leah and Lee that come in after them, maybe, I don't know. But and in fact, I think it might be because they come in and they're telling the rest of the crew about Leisha and Reiss. And as Leah is describing Leisha and Reiss, she's just like, oh yeah, like they're both hot. Or maybe to fit actually. Yeah, brunette, like blue eyes. And Lee's like, yeah, trust you to notice the eyes. And even the experts are like, oh, Lee is ruffled. But again, I can understand why Lee might have felt away, but I also felt like Leah was like, whatever, like I'm just, yes, she's an attractive person. But I mean, like, I'm not into her, like, but she's attractive. But part of me did think, I wonder if she is kind of egging, like juicing it on just to annoy her, because there was a lot. Well, it felt like it was edited that way anyway. There was a lot of like, mention about this woman, and then particularly when they came in as well. Like, she's one of the first people up to go and like greet her and stuff, and was talking to Leisha for ages, and or what appeared ages on the show. So he was like, is Leah fattening in this? Is she fattening it? Because I feel like she is trying to fatten it a little bit. But then also, I'm like, if you are, fair play. A little bit. Like I'm just so done with Lee. I really am. Anyway, everyone else comes in and everyone else is cool. Like Rebecca and Bailey, they come in, they're cool. And this whole thing happens where like Grace comes in on her own and everyone's like, oh my God, like what has happened now? Like, and then Ashley comes through, psych! Which is so funny. It's so funny. April and Leo were the last ones to come through. Abigail and John, Sarah and Dean. And actually, yeah, before talking about Leisha and Reiss, like when Sarah and Dean come in, it's really sad because they're both just look very sad. And actually, even before they entered the dinner party, they were having a conversation about like, you know, just kind of seeing where things go. But I think Dean's feeling really deflated. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, my friends kind of said like, you know, it's not really going anywhere. And I think it's finally started to hit home to him, like the bubble that he's been in about this thing happening for them to, if you just give it enough time. I think it's starting to kind of sink into him that maybe it's not going to happen. And I think that Sarah, she's also been like, I just don't know how long I can really do this for, because it's just sad to know that we're still at that stage where I'm trying as much as I can, but like, you know, rolling around in the sack with you, I don't really know what else I can really do to kind of bring the spark further. Like, but I know I'm not the only one screaming at the screen. Like, just again, done the dance. You're not interested in him. You're not attracted to him. How are you gonna grow that? Like, I don't get that. It's a waste of time. So anyway, so when they get into the dinner party and they're kind of seeing other couples and stuff, and like when Abigail and John come in and John's talking about just how happy like their honeymoon has been and they're so locked in with each other and stuff, and Dean's just like, I did feel sad for him. I know I said that I was starting to like not feel sad for him anymore, but I do feel sad for him, because it must be a shame that when you go into something like this and that you can see that things work so well with everybody else, you know. And as I said, like I don't think he should necessarily need to change, but so if he's happy as he is, then I'm sure there'll be someone that you know absolutely laps him up exactly the way that he is. But I also feel as though that like if that were me, I think that I would want to. I don't know. There are things that I would want to do that I feel that would help me to appeal more to whoever it was I'm trying to attract. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, hitch me up a little bit. And maybe that those are things that maybe he will look back on, and maybe, you know, there are some things that maybe he's willing to alter a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a difficult one. You don't want anyone to not be themselves or not be who they're meant to look like, whatever. But you know, if the ultimate goal is for you to find happiness, and one of the things that people might find attractive is things like that, then maybe it's something to consider. Maybe, I don't know. Time will tell, and he will. You know, his path and his journey is his own. So yeah. So the dinner party continues, and then Reiss starts telling the boys about what happened with Leisha. And they're just like, mate, like what the hell? I'd have been fuming as well. And Leisha's telling the girls about the fact that she asked him, like, you know, if you were falling for me after 3 days, and they were like, babe, babe, what are you doing? And experts are like, maybe it's a good thing that she's getting a bit of a wake up call. It's I don't know. Is anyone else like a little bit shocked they would take a conversation with other people to go, that's kind of bonkers that you're expecting someone to fall for you within 3 days? Like, I don't get that personally. Like, I find that so odd that you'd need a harem of other people to tell you that, like, yeah, like that's a bit crazy. Like, any rational, logical person would not. Maybe this is the reason why she is single still. Because if you don't understand that, after Reiss has nearly had a breakdown telling you, mate, you need to slow it down. I just want to get to know you, but don't turn around. I don't understand why you need someone to say that. He's done told you. I think they're all just really excited to meet everyone else and the new people. Like, there's a big energy in the room. Then they eventually like sit down with each other. Leisha's cussing Reiss because he didn't hold her hand on the way to the table. So she's like, you know, everyone else is holding everyone else's hand. And you're, you know, so she's like, oh, just F off now. I don't want it now. And it did seem like, I don't know, it seemed like she's on like a one-woman destruction mission to ruin the relationship that she's in, because, you know, you've gone from being this crazily needy person that needed like all these answers about the future today, like, then kind of like so peeing him off that way, then getting back on the plane, vomiting on yourself, chatting to some next dude, and then kind of embarrassing both of you in front of everyone as like your first big entry, and having this stupid argument about you not holding my hand and to F off now. Those kind of things to me like are not okay. Like it's again the respect level, particularly in public. Like, you know, we're meant to be like a united front and stuff, and having people already pointing fingers about how weak we are because of all of that crap. Nah, man, that would have got my back up as well. So it was weird that then when he was kind of being a bit off with her, that she couldn't really understand that. And it's like, but what are you expecting him to do? You know, he is peed off for valid reason, and you're kind of getting upset because he's upset, but you upset him. So yeah, so there's that going around the table. Sarah and Dean again soaking up all the happiness and joy that's going on around them. And you just it's just, oh man, lonely. I'm so lonely. I have nobody to call my own. But you do have someone. She sat right there, but the two of you don't have any connection. So it's just like, wow, maybe at this point now you are starting to get it. And even the experts are like, you know, it's got to be hard for them to watch this around everybody else and see how tactile and happy everyone is. And, you know, I mean, sorry, I even forgot Kieran and David. They come into the dinner party just like so much energy lifted, looking amazing, all happy and stuff. It's David's birthday. Kieran does this speech, but it's like, oh, you know, I'm not even good at public speaking. I don't buy that. And, you know, he gives this amazing speech about how he's falling in love with this man. And, oh, man, it was really awesome to watch and listen to that. And it's like, these are some of the couples that you're just rooting for. Abigail and John. Yeah, I mean, they look so besotted with each other. Like, so besotted with each other. And Mill continues, and then Leah and Lee have a slight conversation about the whole Leah talking to Leisha thing. But I think it ends with Leah just saying, look, you either trust me, you don't. Like, that's what a relationship is based on. She's like, I don't fancy her. She's like, you know, like, yeah, she's my type. I said she's fit. Like, and I think she's like, oh, that's just maybe like a Liverpudlian thing. You know, and Lee's like, she's not genuinely trying to get out of this by being like, because she's a Scouser, like that she's allowed to flirt with people. I can imagine, like, you know, those kind of personalities that are just a little bit more brash. And you do find like some Scousers can be like that, and same with like Londoners and stuff that, like, you know, you find certain brash personalities that can like not really mean anything by what they're saying. So I don't know. Like I said, my friend thinks differently and thinks that Leah's been a bit more calculated. I just think that she's just, as I said, checked out a little bit and just having a nice time. Like, you know, she's cool. You know, you'd think they were Frenching on the sofa. Like, I don't really get it. Like, and actually, you need to check your feelings out, mate, because if this is just an ego thing, because you think I'm yours and therefore I should be putting you first or whatever, then I don't really agree, because where have you put me first in this whole scenario? And just by me talking to someone who happens to fit, you know, certain characteristics that I like, you want to lose your mind. Now, do I think that Leah absolutely 100% wasn't trying to push some of those buttons? No, I don't think I can say that. But I think my empathy for Lee at this point. Anyway, so Honesty Box comes out. We're basically answering questions for other couples. So they ask the questions and the rest of the table will answer them. And Grace, I think, asks, you know, what can we be doing better or something like that. And Julia Ruth is like, you know, just understanding that the guy is there, like, you know, he cares about you, and the things he does for you to want to take care of you is done from a place of care, not from a place of like authority. And just receive it, you know, just receive it and accept it and appreciate it. And you know, they're all kind of saying the same kind of thing. They end up having like this smooch, which Grace initiated, which, you know, even the experts are like, that's huge. And I was like, yeah, that I rated that. Like, and I know that Ashley would have walked away from that being like, that's amazing. So again, I'm kind of hopeful for them too. Do you know what I mean? I really am. I know that they asked something of Nelly, and they were having a conversation, actually. It might have been the Honesty Box or just in general. And she apologized for making a joke about when the new girls came in, if he was into any of them. And he was like, you know, that kind of stuff is just going to make me go the other way. And she's like, you know, look, that was just a joke that didn't land very well. But you know, it came on the back of the fact that you pulled back a little bit from the honeymoon. So naturally, I don't know where my head is at. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know, and I don't know if I want to ask you, because if I ask you, that might push you back further. So I'm just in this weird limbo, not knowing what to do. And she's like, you know, what can I do, like, to, you know, to help you, you know, get back to that point? And she's like, and he's like, not be needy, you know, like you're just constantly needing that reassurance, the hugs and that. And like he's saying this quite openly to a table of people, bearing in mind that like one of her biggest insecurities is being like vulnerable and being hurt and stuff. So I'm just feeling for it at this point, man. So I'm just like, the things that he's telling you is almost reinforcing exactly what it is that you feel nervous about. This man does not deserve your time. He just doesn't. He does not at all. And it was interesting that Lee was like, you know, don't ever feel bad about telling a guy or your partner how you feel and what your needs are. Because ultimately, if you tell them what your needs are and they think that's too much for them, then that means that they're not the right person for you. And I think it was so important that she said that, because it's absolutely true. Like I said, I'm not saying that like someone that has to be here all the time, just like, hey babe, I'm gonna chill tonight, babe. Gonna help you tonight, babe. Like that, like wow, move. Do you know what I mean? But she's not asking for that from the looks of things. She's asking to be reassured by the same guy that said he would be doing some leg work this week. And from what I can see, I'm not seeing nothing. I'm not seeing, like, even when he was talking about the family grilling him, he didn't really have any remorse, like the expert said. Like, you know, it just, you know, these things come out, don't they? Do you know what I mean? You're not really feeling how Nelly felt about what you said, because for me, as I said, that'd be game over. I don't know you well enough to disrespect me like that, man. You and your furrowed brow can go and take several seats. Move. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that scenario at all. Then it goes to Reiss and Leisha. It's like, you know, everyone knows about what happened on the plane on the way back. You know, are you team Leisha or team Reiss? And everyone pretty much is team Reiss. And you know, Leisha, bless her, I think all she could do was defend herself. And obviously he's recounted the full story. And, you know, I can imagine for her, as would anybody, hearing that you vomited all down yourself as a grown adult in a potential marriage experiment with all these other, you know, hopefuls and, you know, respectable people and stuff, like, that was not good. So I did feel for her a little bit in having to kind of go through that so publicly. And then again, like her talking to this guy, my friend was like, I wouldn't have been upset about that. He was like, the thing is, you know, she's probably feeling embarrassed. And the fact that like she vomited all over herself in front of a guy that she likes. Yeah, probably still stinks of vomit still. You know, she's gonna go back and she's gonna chill and probably want to be away from him for as long as possible because she's embarrassed. And I was like, okay, I did think about that and I thought maybe then. But then even at that point, I feel as though that like the conversation being an hour long and talking to this guy and only this guy, I would have got upset about that. I would, because it's just another thing to add to the first thing of you being sick all over yourself and causing a scene. Now, like, you're just off speaking to someone next man. Bearing in mind that she's claiming how much she likes him, which is what my friend was saying. Like, you know, she clearly likes him, so she's not going to be interested in talking to nobody else. But I was like, but even so, I think there are actions that you can take, which is what the guys around the table were saying. Like, you've just come off your honeymoon. Like, you know, there should be no reason for you to kind of like give such a grace of time to someone else that isn't your husband, really. Again, it'd be different if you kind of known each other for a long time. And I think that's when April kind of spoke up, because everyone was coming at her, coming at Leisha. And she was like, at the end of the day, she doesn't know you. Like, she's getting to know you. Cut the girl some slack. Which I think then people were a little bit more like, okay, like, yeah, fair play. Abigail and John, again, besotted with each other. Best thing on the honeymoon. She was like spending it with him, which I thought was really sweet. One of the last things that we see is someone asks Sarah and Dean if there's a spark. Sorry, he asked the group, do you think there's a spark with us? If not, why not? And they're all like, you know, you've had a tough time in here. It's been rocky. And Leah's just like, look, I really hope that you are putting yourself, you know, kind of first a little bit, because and on the outset of this is that you were the guy that was always punching. You wanted to be the guy that was the prize. And so I really hope that you're, not just supportive of Sarah, but also supporting yourself. But I think they've all come to the same conclusion that like there isn't anything, and I think that realization has hit them hard. I can't remember what Divani's and Julia Ruth's was. If there was any for Maeve and Joe, I can't remember. What I thought was interesting was the preview of the next episode, Nelly and Stephen, where he again is trying to almost shirk any emotional responsibility for how Nelly's feeling. I just find him disrespectful. I'm sorry, I really do. Like, I just don't like the attitude. Again, all based on what I'm seeing on the TV. Like, I don't like how he kind of presents himself, and how that then will impact another person that's genuinely come into an experiment to find someone for her. And I feel like he's treating her with disdain undeservedly. Again, even if you're needy, you've had a certain you had a certain amount of patience and time and love for her, it appeared, or at least you were having a good time. And it's just eroded, and you've never quite even attempted to get it back. I don't think so anyway. I don't rate him. So his kind of attitude on that sofa wasn't feeling that. Leah and Lee, it looks as though that was quite an emotional one. So it looks as though that Leah might have said something along the lines of, I'm done. I'm just checked out of it. So it'd be interesting to see what they both write. And then it ends with Sarah and Dean. And I guess I can come into a kind of realization. But then Sarah's like, but the thing is though, I don't want to lead the process and then, be thinking, oh, but what if, if I could have held on a bit longer. And Mel's just like, let me just stop you there, because you do know how you feel. You do know how you feel. And this is what I mean. I don't have any sympathy for her. I don't have any sympathy for her. I've got a little bit more for Dean. Again, depends on what he writes, because if he writes stay, then you are literally self-flagellating yourself. That's you. Like my man in the Da Vinci Code. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are doing this to yourself. But for her to sit down there and just be like, oh, because I don't, to see how I really feel. You know how you've been telling everybody that could listen about the ick on the first thing, how we need to lose weight, how we need to get tattoos and get a tan, stop with the singing, stop with the rapping. Like, you've said all of these things, Sarah. So where on God's green earth do you not know how you feel? I'm so glad. So glad that Mel called her out. Just tap the nice. Right, do you know what I mean? Please stop talking absolute popping my ears off, because you're talking rubbish. So I'm hoping that kind of, scaling back down to earth will make them both right leave. So, I think shows like these are really good for, again, we all love a bit of drama and oh my God, they said what? Oh my God, everyone loves a little bit of drama. I mean, apart from the ones that I'm so above this. But, I think the time for that we've had it already, and it's been great to watch. But I think now, watching them so sad around that table, why are you there? Why would you put yourself in that position? Do you know what I mean? I couldn't. I'm often the third wheel with some of my friends and stuff, but I would never want to be consistently around all of that if it meant that I was constantly being reminded about how alone I am. No, thank you. I would rather come and do what I'm doing, and give myself joy rather than watching all the hugging in there. No, it's all right. So come off the show. Come off the show. And I said the same thing to you, Julia Ruth. I don't know I don't know what happened in this episode, but like I said, if something's altered, I will stand corrected, but baffled by that. Again, Leah and Lee, I'm hoping to see that they both write leave as well, because I don't think they're good for each other. And I think if someone starts to bring you out of your name, like my friend was saying, if some of the actions that, whether you're team Leah, whether you're team Lee, if some of the actions from the other person are starting to elicit behavior that isn't yourself, then I do think it's also time to just kick the bucket and bounce, because I don't want to be that person on national TV. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether people the Pollies or who was her name Rebecca? Talking about my kids, that one. Like, you know, those kind of characters and stuff, they will always forever be as immortalized in reality TV as those kinds of people. Even if they're not those kinds of people, and the people that know them know they're not those kind of people, the kind of people that people saw for the TV screen are those kinds of people. So why would you fan the flames of that character, like, by staying on a show that's going to make you out to be a certain type of way? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I feel I feel quite vehemently about them just because I'm watching the show and reacting to it. Like, I would never, send them any kind of messages or, try and apprehend them in the street or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's never that deep. Like, and if it's that deep for anybody else, you really need to go outside and touch some grass. But I feel like even having that perception where, you might be, you might be browsing the 3 for 2 aisle in Boots, and all of a sudden you see, Mary picking up a medicine, right, and she's staring at you because she's like, oh, that was the one with the bob. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily want to have that. So if you've had your little 5 minutes and stuff, and you're not going to find love on the back of it, like, I just don't see what the point of staying on a show like that would do.